There are moments when a story shifts, not because of a press conference or a breaking news banner, but because someone who has been close to it finally speaks from the heart. That's what reportedly happened when Craig Melvin opened up in a private setting about his longtime colleague Savannah Guthrie. No cameras, no studio lights. Just a small circle of trusted co-workers reflecting on what they've witnessed. According to those familiar with the conversation, Craig didn't share gossip or insider drama. He shared concern. He spoke about patterns he has observed for years, about strength, expectation, and the powerful influence of Savannah's mother, Nancy. What he described wasn't scandalous. It was deeply human. And for many who heard it, it reframed how they see Savannah's composure during an incredibly painful chapter. Sitting beside strength for years. Craig has spent countless early mornings sitting just feet away from Savannah on the set of The Today Show. He has watched her navigate breaking news, political interviews, and deeply emotional stories with remarkable steadiness. That kind of proximity gives a person perspective you simply can't get from the outside. According to the retelling, Craig said he has seen Savannah tired, overwhelmed, and even quietly grieving at times, but always composed when the red light turns on. What struck him recently wasn't tears or visible distress. It was something subtler. The way she seemed to move through crisis with a kind of disciplined determination, as though she was still trying to meet a standard set long ago. That observation wasn't criticism. It was empathy from someone who knows her rhythm well. Love and expectation intertwined. At the heart of what Craig reportedly shared was his understanding of Savannah's relationship with her mother, Nancy Guthrie. He described a bond built on love, but also on high expectations. From his perspective, Nancy encouraged excellence, resilience, and preparation. According to stories Savannah herself had shared over the years, her mother believed in pushing her to reach higher than she might have chosen on her own. Craig framed this not as coldness, but as a worldview. One where strength is the greatest protection against a difficult world. Over time, that kind of upbringing can shape how a person measures their worth. Achievement becomes affirmation. Composure becomes proof of capability. Even in adulthood, those lessons can echo loudly. The audition that never ends. One idea Craig reportedly expressed was that Savannah sometimes carries herself as though she is still auditioning for approval. Not from the public, not from executives, but from the voice of her upbringing. It's a powerful metaphor. When someone grows up equating love with excellence, it can feel as though the performance never truly ends. You prepare thoroughly. You show up polished. You manage emotion carefully. You do not crumble easily in public view. Craig suggested that this pattern might help explain why Savannah approaches personal hardship with the same structured discipline she brings to live television. It isn't that she doesn't feel deeply. It may be that she feels responsible for remaining steady, because that steadiness has always been praised. Composure under pressure. Many viewers have commented on Savannah's calm tone during recent public statements. Craig reportedly pointed out how deliberate her communication often is. He described her tendency to organize her thoughts carefully before speaking, even in high-pressure moments. Gratitude first, context second, appeal third. That order, he suggested, reflects training from years of both journalism and family expectations. Some people express distress openly and immediately. Others instinctively gather themselves, refine their message, and deliver it with control. Craig's reflections encouraged people to interpret Savannah's steadiness not as detachment, but as learned discipline. For someone raised to value poise and clarity, composure may feel like the most responsible way to respond. The economy of approval. One particularly poignant theme in Craig's reflections was what he described as an economy of approval. Over the years, he said he noticed how much Savannah valued feedback from her mother. A compliment could energize her. A challenge could motivate her further. That dynamic isn't uncommon. Many adults still seek validation from parents long after childhood ends. But when love and expectation are closely linked, the drive to prove oneself can become constant. Craig reportedly worried that in moments of crisis, Savannah might feel pressure not only to solve the problem, but to solve it perfectly. That pressure doesn't come from malice. It comes from devotion, from wanting to honor the standards she was raised with. Rewriting the script as a mother, Craig also reflected on Savannah's role as a parent. Over the years, he has seen her interact with her own children in ways that feel gentler and more flexible. He reportedly observed that she allows space for emotion, imperfection, and messiness. Rather than viewing that as contradiction, he sees it as growth. Many parents consciously soften the parts of their upbringing that felt heavy. They keep the strength, but loosen the rigidity. Craig's insight was that Savannah may be intentionally offering her children something she herself had to learn later in life. That love doesn't need to be earned through flawless performance. That awareness adds depth to the public persona many viewers see each morning. The cost of always being strong strength is admirable, but constant strength can be exhausting. Craig reportedly expressed concern that Savannah's instinct to remain composed might prevent her from fully releasing the weight she's carrying. When someone is known as the strong one, they often feel obligated to maintain that identity. Falling apart can feel like failure, even when it's human. Craig's message wasn't that Savannah is suppressing everything, or that she lacks emotion. It was that resilience can become so ingrained that it feels like the only acceptable response. And in deeply personal crises, that internal rule can intensify the strain rather than ease it. Seeing the person behind the anchor desk, one of the most important threads in Craig's reported comments was a plea for empathy. He wasn't asking anyone to feel sorry for Savannah. He was asking people to see her fully. Not just as a seasoned journalist or co-anchor, but as a daughter shaped by decades of lessons about strength and expectation. When viewers question why someone doesn't react a certain way, they often forget the lifetime of conditioning that informs that reaction. Craig's reflections invited people to step back and consider the deeper emotional architecture behind public composure. Understanding doesn't erase hardship, but it can soften judgment. Permission to be human. If there was a central message in Craig's reflections, it was this: strength should not require constant proof. He reportedly expressed hope that, regardless of how circumstances unfold, Savannah will eventually feel free to rest from the pressure of perpetual performance. To not always measure herself against an invisible rubric. To allow herself moments of vulnerability without fearing disappointment. That hope resonates beyond one family or one crisis. Many people grow up believing love must be earned through achievement or control. Craig's perspective reminds us that true support means granting one another permission to be imperfect. Sometimes the bravest act is not standing unshaken, but allowing yourself to be human.